Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I know I have not posted in a very long time. When I first started, I really wanted to take this journey with you guys because I thought it was something, that I wanted to do to just fulfill like these crazy dreams of mine. But I was going through such a no, I'm good. Crazy time in my life, a lot of transition. I was going back to school. I was looking for a new job. So a lot of things were happening then. There's been a couple times that I've tried to force myself to kind of do this video and create it. But it's hard, but with everything going on in the world and just in general, I kind of wanted to, or I felt like it was kind of like a perfect timing for me to kind of share my story. My name's Alejandra Tinoco. This is my YouTube channel, so if you like what you see so far, you guys can follow me. I don't know how to do this, it's been so long. You guys can follow me. I'm going to try to upload as much as I can and talk about relevant topics that people can relate to in different categories, since I feel like I've gone through a lot in my life, and I feel like if I can share some tips or things that I've done in order to get to where I am, I'm nowhere, let me just say that, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, I guess career-wise, but I'm definitely in such a good place when it comes to my emotional and mental health. I dealt with a lot of really kind of severe mental health issues in the past, and that's something that I can hopefully in the future talk to you guys about, how to cope, how to kind of motivate yourselves and stuff. But I really kind of wanted to make this video to talk about something that I personally deal with. I am a Daca recipient. Some of my followers on my regular social media know, since I'm kind of very vocal about it. I wrote this a really long time ago, just kind of because I wanted to do one of these videos, but I just never kind of had the courage and stuff. But I feel with everything going on in this world, I feel like it's my time to kind of share my story, bring awareness of what it is to be a Daca recipient, because I feel like a lot of people lack the knowledge or don't understand exactly what you have to do in order to even be accepted or be able to have it. I may be wrong in some things, to be honest, just because I'm doing this again right now. I have to renew it every 2 years, so I'll get into it. But I just kind of wanted to share my story and my, like, why I am Daca and like what led me here. Sorry, my dogs are barking, of course. I don't want to do this video. And before I start talking about it, I may not be super well-rounded in everything. That's actually something that I actually want to get more knowledge with this process of doing this. Like, I want to get myself more informed. I only know the basis of certain things because I've done them and I know of, but there may be some things that I lack knowledge of, and that's totally okay. I mean, we're all here to learn, and to, if something comes up or someone can educate me, that's totally okay. I'm so open to feedback. I know that this platform is kind of putting my life out there, and I know that not everybody is going to have the same views as I do, and that people are not going to like me based on what I'm about to talk about, or like just my status in this country, which is totally fine. I think that's something that I actually had to kind of work through and within myself, because that's why I feel like I was a little bit apprehensive about moving forward, because by putting yourself out there, you're kind of also inviting some negative people that just want to talk bad or have a reason to dislike you. And I'm being vulnerable. I'm sharing my story because I believe that by sharing my story, I can not only educate some of you guys that don't understand my situation, or bring awareness to other people that think they know but may not know everything, as well as to help those that are in the same situation as me, because I think it's super important to have someone to kind of get look up to. And I'm not saying necessarily I'm someone to look up to, but I feel like I've done a really good job in the past couple of years working on myself and trying to make myself a better person in all aspects of my life. And especially like mental health has been huge, especially being in this position as a Daca recipient. I think that we all Daca recipients, it's something that we really need to take care of, because I know that it's an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. And not just as a Daca recipient, but as an immigrant. I guess I didn't say that at the beginning, but just, you know, there's 11 million undocumented people in this country, or so, from the last time I, you know, kind of got some numbers or whatever. So I'm not just talking to people with Daca, but everyone else. I mean, we all deal with the same thing. The only difference is I have a work permit, which actually I don't even want to say like that, because it does make a huge, I can't even say huge, like magnificent difference to just have that little work permit, that social security card. Like I wouldn't care, honestly, if I never became legal. But as long as I knew I would have a work permit, I'd be okay. Like legit. I would sacrifice not ever being able to go back to Mexico where I was born, or even traveling to other places, just so that I can not have the fear of. I'm hoping, you know, as many of us in my situation, I hope that one day that, you know, there's a path towards citizenship where we can apply. But that's only a hope, you know. Hope that, you know, you guys vote and vote for someone that actually takes into consideration that just because we don't look like that, like you, or you know what I mean, like, or that we don't have a paper, that we are still human. Because I think that's something that I've struggled with a lot as a Daca recipient and as an immigrant. Just not feeling like I am enough, that I am human enough for people to care about me. I know that I've learned to be more optimistic, and I'm sorry if I get a little bit emotional. It's just, it's a very tough topic, you know, at least for me, because it does create a lot of emotion, because it's like I said, it's an emotional roller coaster. And I'm sure a lot of you guys that are in my situation can understand how intense and crazy it can be sometimes. Like, you know, our life is put up to debate to others. Well, actually it is. Like, we just hope that people vote and help us, or put a voice out there, a vote, because we don't have that ability to do so, because we can't vote. We can't do a lot of things, unfortunately, that make kind of, I guess, a better change. But actually we can. Let me take that back. Let me rewind it and rephrase that. There is a lot we can do. There's just different forms of it. While some people choose to dedicate their time to inform others through organizations, which I hope to learn more about. Some of us, even sharing our own story is something that how we can help others or bring awareness. At least this is something that, or this is why I'm doing it, because I want to inform others of what it means to be a DACA recipient. So I don't really have a blueprint. I wrote this. I wish I would have put a date on it. But you know, I just kind of want to give a backstory of who I am, or like what brought me here. Let's start. So I was born in Michoacan, Mexico. I'm Mexican, you know. Both of my parents are from little ranchitos, or like small, I guess, villages or ranches. At least that's how they say it in Spanish. They both came from very, very like severe poverty. On my dad's side, I believe there's 12 of them, and then on my mom's side, oh my god, I can't even believe, I don't recall, I think there was 15, but I think there's 12 now, because I know some passed away and one of my uncles passed away. I probably should get these info. Maybe I'll do one day like an actual review. It's just been a while since I've actually talked about it. But anyways, they both came from poverty, big families. I know, like, for my mom, she remembers there was times where they barely had any food to eat growing up, because my grandma actually became a widow when my mom was 5 years old, so she never really got to experience having like a dad, or having, you know, everything she needed. Even like the basic necessities, they struggled very hard. So when my mom was 18, I believe, she got with my dad, and they had my sister. She's a year and a half older. I'm 28, she's 29. Then they had me, and then after me, they had my little brother. And I don't really talk with my mom a lot about this, so I apologize if I seem a little kind of like wandering. But I know that my little brother had health issues within the couple months that he was born, and he actually ended up passing away because of his health issues. My parents didn't have the money for it. They didn't, you know, over there, if you don't have the money, they don't assist you. Well, my little brother ended up passing away in his sleep, from what I know. And that really traumatized my mom. That really, really traumatized my mom to see one of her children pass away. So after that happened, you know, like, it was really rough on her. And when my uncles and my dad had already been coming here, I believe, at that time. But when I turned 4 is when I came here. So my mom made the decision, well, my parents made the decision to bring me here. I actually came first, then my sister. My sister stayed with my grandmother. They decided to bring us because they wanted to give us a better life. My mom was very fearful that, like, something would happen to us. So she decided to leave because she was afraid. She was afraid that, you know, what if in the future one of us got sick and she wouldn't have the means to be able to take us to the doctor and have them take care of us. Her fear of losing another child was so intense that she decided that she was gonna leave everything behind and move to the United States. Luckily, a couple of her siblings had already lived here, so therefore she felt it gave her that kind of courage to not feel so alone. But I was 4, and I just, you know, maybe I'll go more into depth about one day about like me coming. But basically, I came here at 4. I remember everything. It was actually pretty traumatic. That's why, like, this is kind of why I want to speak about it, because I cannot not imagine like me having to go through what the children that are migrating now are going through, being held up in detention centers and stuff like that. And that's something that it makes me so sad, you know, because as a child that was brought here for a better life, not because we want to steal people's jobs, not because we're criminals, not because anything, it's just purely either fleeing violence, fleeing poverty, famish, if I'm saying it correct, you know, like, not because we want to do harm, because my parents wanted to work, because my parents are hardworking parents and they wanted to come to this country to have a better future, to give us a better future. And like a lot of you guys that might be born here, but your parents are immigrants, like they sacrificed everything so that we could have the most. And as someone that grew up here undocumented, like I never really understood. I knew growing up I was undocumented. I just knew it was something I shouldn't talk about. So there was a lot of shame and kind of guilt and just going through a lot of trauma stuff growing up, which I'll talk about it one day or eventually. It was very, very hard for me to like open up about, because at the time you didn't want to say that you were illegal, because I didn't have Social Security, I didn't have anything. So me opening up about being undocumented, I felt like that people would look at me as less than, or that I might be sent back, literally. So I honestly, growing up, thinking back, I always had this fear of disclosing my status, because I was afraid. I was very afraid. And I know, like, for my parents, you know, they were too. And, you know, growing up in the United States as an illegal immigrant, it's not easy. It's not easy whatsoever. Like, I have it easier than my parents because I speak the language. But I heard stories and just see how my parents work. Like, it really, really, it's overwhelming. Just seeing them bend over backwards, break their backs to feed us, to have a roof over our head. Seeing them be disrespected and treated badly because being illegal, having to worry about different things just because you're undocumented, not knowing if you know, they're safe, or, you know, if, you know, at the time, you know, like it was common for factories, places to be where like ICE would come and take them. So I don't think growing up I really thought too much about it, because it made me too uncomfortable, and plus I was dealing with a lot of other stuff. But to me, when it became very apparent that I was illegal was in high school, when all my friends that were born here were getting ready to like get their permits and, you know, get a job and stuff like that. And I was there. Like, I was like, well, I can't get a job, I can't get a license. So I just felt, you know, like it felt sad, because I didn't feel like I had the regular privileges. Well, I can't say that word. So, you know, it was hard. Plus, I tried so hard to push that away, because I didn't want to be that. Because I didn't want to face the reality, because I was I felt sad, you know. And I never talked about it because, like I said, growing up, it was like, sorry, it's emotional. Because growing up, I was told not to talk about it and to not disclose my status because, you know, it could be bad. Sorry, I needed a break. So it was hard, and so it was hard having to cope with knowing that I was undocumented and seeing everybody kind of live out their, you know, teen years of getting a permit, getting their license. And at the time there was a lot going on also in my family's life that I couldn't cope with, and you know, that was just one part of growing up, being illegal, but it, you know, it had a huge effect on me. At the time, my dad was still around, and I remember that it was when Obama was president that, you know, they were still deporting a lot of people. There was still a lot of deportations happening, and I remember my senior year, I had turned my whole life around because I remember my junior year that I had decided that I wanted to do more for my life, because for a long time, no one pushed me, no one told me what I needed to do. I had no dreams or aspirations of what I could be because I was illegal. I knew that I wouldn't be able to go to beauty school because I didn't have a social. I knew that the things I wanted to, if I wanted to accomplish things like that, they might not be able to happen because I was illegal. At least that's how I felt. There was a lot of, you know, sadness because I felt like, okay, like my friends are thinking about college, like I can't even get help. Like, how am I gonna pay for school? Like those type of things. Like growing up, I always said like, oh, like I'm gonna try it, or actually after that, like after like sophomore year, I can't remember exactly, but I remember my best friend talking about college, and for the first time I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? And I felt like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm not trying in school, like I'm just wasting my life, or like my high school, like I'm getting poor grades, like what am I gonna do? For the first time ever in my life, I thought about what I wanted to do. You know, like everybody had this idea that Allie's gonna go to beauty school and do hair and makeup, because of course I love makeup, and I'm good at it naturally. But I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to because I didn't have a social security. So I was like, well, I just kind of thought like, what else can I do? And I was like, well, if I become, because my friend wanted to be a nurse. I think I just did it because I felt so lost that she said she wanted to do nursing. And I was like, okay, like maybe I'll do that. You know, you get those careers where you're like, you don't know what the fuck you want to do. So you just go with one that's generic, that's, what's the word, socially accepted, that is good enough. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna do nurse. So I put everything together. I was like, okay, like my parents don't really have much faith in me. Nobody really tells me what to do. I'm just gonna do this for myself. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong. Like since I was little, I always did my, like, I don't know, like my mom always thought I was rebellious, but I just always wanted to prove everybody wrong. Like I hate when people put me down or think less of me. It just gives me that motivation to do more. So because of that, like, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change everything with school. I'm gonna graduate. I'm not gonna be like my sister. Sorry, sister, but like, she had a rough time in high school. So I was like, I'm not gonna be like, I remember like more towards my junior year when she was struggling to graduate because she was going through her own personal stuff, just like I was. But I was like, no, I'm gonna prove my parents wrong and everybody else wrong. Like, I'm gonna graduate, and nobody's gonna tell me that I might not graduate. Like, no, I'm gonna do this for myself. I'm gonna try. And I did, and I tried, and I was really like, I remember my senior year, like, it wasn't perfect, but I remember like I really did focus on school and try to get like the best grades that I could, just because I did struggle with school. I have a learning disability, so like I always felt like that kind of hindered my ability to do better in school, because I kind of fell back a lot on my learning disability. But I decided then that that was no longer going to be an excuse, and I went ahead and I ended up going to my senior year. I was doing really well in my classes. I mean, there were A's, B's, and C's, but still, hey, C's get degrees. And then that year, my dad was doing good because my dad struggled with alcoholism, so that's something else that I can speak up about in future videos. And that year, I believe he was sober, so he was doing really, really well. Anytime my dad was sober, like, he was a good dad. He was a good dad. I can't take that away, because he was good when he was good, but when he was bad, he was really bad. And I just remember one day we just got in a fight, and I got angry. Well, one day we got in a fight because he was drinking a beer, and I just kind of got angry because I was like, what the hell, like, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna, like, why are you drinking? Because since he had alcoholism, he had like go to jail back and forth. So that's something else that I had to deal with, unfortunately. But I remember we got into it because I straight up told him, like, why are you drinking again? Like, why are you doing this? You know, like, we're doing all good, like, we're moving forward. And I remember he got upset that I was kind of calling him out. And I remember I called him out, and I was telling him like he was messing everything up by drinking. And he got really angry, and he was like, you know, unfortunately, that's something that like I got upset about. But I just remember him yelling at me and telling me like he drank because me and my sister always fought, and my mom was always bitching at him. Which, going to college and learning a lot, you know, it's something normal to put blame on other people. Well, he went out. I remember we would clean houses on the weekends. He went on a binge. We didn't see him for a couple days, and when we went to clean the houses that Saturday, he hadn't came, and I already had a gut feeling. I already knew in my heart. Like, I was like, he's in jail. And then, as I don't remember where we were, but we were going back home, and my mom gets a call, and I just knew it in the pit of my stomach. I just knew. And it turns out he was in jail, you know, and I was like, here we go again, you know. It was probably like, I don't really remember 100% when it happened, because it was just kind of like a blur. I just know he went to jail, and at the time they were doing anybody that went to jail, they were getting deported. And I was just so sick of it, honestly. I was so sick of it. Like, growing up in an unhealthy environment, so that's one of the things. Like, I grew up in a very unhealthy environment. My dad was an alcoholic. He was very verbally, emotionally abusive. Physically, I guess I don't want to remember. He did some stuff that, you know, it's not okay. And I was just done. I was done with kind of the back and forth, all the kind of things that were going on in my life with like my family. And I just remember like praying to God, like I was like, please deport him. Please deport him. Like they say there's some bad people that make it worse for others. He was one of them. I can agree. I can say that he was one. But I also have empathy towards him, to be honest, because I never got to speak to him about his situation or how he felt, or coming from a Mexican culture, men don't speak about their feelings or what they went through or emotional or mental health. So I guess I never really got to understand that aspect. I'm thankful that I am able to do that. But I just remember I was just fed up. And to make a long story short, because I don't know why I'm talking so much about this, he ended up getting deported my senior year. And I remember being so angry because I was like really excited to graduate, but just like it just sucked. It just sucked because I felt like all my effort and stuff and kind of hard work had been put down the drain, to be honest, because I was like, but on the positive side, like, had gotten a job where I could, I remember my first job, it was at a retirement home. I was a server and I was in high school. I don't remember when I got my first job, to be honest, if it had been before or after my dad got deported. But I just remember like it got really hard after he left, because obviously my mom had stayed single and she didn't have a lot of income. Well, cleaning houses with my mom was my first job, and actually babysitting. Actually, I worked a lot, actually. That's something else, a huge, that I'm thankful for my situation, because coming from parents who are immigrants, we have minimal, like, income. So therefore, they had to kind of work their behind off with anything, any type of job they could. So I remember since I was little, I was taught to basically work for what I wanted. I started babysitting when I was 12 with my sister, because she was 13, and my mom was a nanny at the time. So we were, you didn't need a work permit, or you didn't need a social to work those jobs. So we would, any break we had, any summer school, we would go in and work for these families. I started when I was 12. Obviously, they needed someone that was 13. So me and my sister would go together, and we would split the money. And I remember there was so many fights because I would always be the one sleeping, unfortunately, at the time. I was young. I would fall asleep at the job while my sister was doing everything. So she would get really angry when it was time to get paid, because, she's like, why does she get money when she doesn't do anything? But, can't blame that. The kids still love me more. I'm just kidding. But no, so we did that. So I started babysitting really young, because we didn't have, that was the only way I could make money so that I could buy stuff, because we didn't have anything else. Like, my parents barely had enough money for the things we needed. And that was like my first job. Then cleaning houses, we would help my mom clean houses on the weekends, which now looking back, I used to get really angry that she wouldn't pay us, because I was like, dude, like, I'm getting up on my Saturday and going to clean houses and I don't make any money. But it made me create this really strong work ethic. And honestly, now, because of the way we live, because of how my parents um, kind of pushed us to help them out at a very young age. Well, not necessarily help them out, like, yes, with cleaning, help them, but it kind of taught us that, like, we had to kind of what's the word, add to the households, you know. So like, even though they didn't pay us, like, they were bringing food, you know, like, it helped us keep a roof over our head. Like, now looking back, I'm so grateful for those experiences, because it taught me to value everything I have. And then so that was what we did. And then I got a job at the retirement home, and I started making my little money, you know. So the money I had, you know, I was able to use it towards the things I needed. And especially like after my dad got deported, it was really helpful for me, because since my mom was left by herself, like, you know, prom and stuff like that and graduation, like, we didn't have any money for it. So I had to, like, I worked so that I could pay for my stuff. Sorry, it makes me sad because, oh God, I'm crazy. Because I remember, like, prom shopping, like the dress I wore, like, I feel like it wasn't that ideal, like, prom dress. It was a little short dress, but the reason I ended up with that dress was because I wasn't supposed to go to prom, or I wasn't gonna do anything crazy because we didn't have the money. And I didn't want to go because I was, like, at the time I had a boyfriend, and I remember, like, just the way he was, and, you know, like, we were struggling. Like, my mom was struggling really, really bad financially because my dad wasn't around anymore, and we didn't have money. And $85 for 2 tickets was a lot of money. But the boyfriend I had at the time told me that I had to pay for him because he paid for mine when it was his prom, which I should have known then. That was, you know, kind of a red flag, but I didn't. He was, so, like, I felt pressured, you know. I asked him if he could, but he didn't want to buy it. And I just remember, like, I had to work because, you know, to buy that. And I just kind of felt really kind of like, I don't want to do that, like, because of it. Like, there was more to it, you know. Obviously he had to get a or whatever, but just, like, thinking back, like, I always think of little things, you know, like that I remember when he said that, like, it just bothered me, because it's like, I'm not asking you to buy it because I don't want to spend for it. It was more like we genuinely didn't have money, and I didn't have money. And the dress I ended up getting actually ended up being more than what I wanted to spend, and my mom was the one that was paying for it and stuff, and I just didn't want her to pay. I remember she offered me, because my sister had, like, she stayed in the city, she got her dress, like, they did everything for her, and I didn't want my mom to pay for anything. And I wanted to do it by myself because I didn't want that pressure. And I remember we went with my cousin to go try on dresses, and I found this dress that I really liked, and I was like, oh my god, like, it's beautiful. And then I remember I was like, I think close to $200, and I was like, no, I can't. And my aunt and my cousin were like, no, it's really nice, it's really nice. I was like, no. They finally called my mom, they're talking, and then she's like, no, get it. She's like, you deserve it. And I was like, no, like, it's too expensive. And I didn't want her to pay for it because I felt like that was a lot of money, because we had so much pressure at home. Like, I knew, like, my mom was struggling, and she's like, we'll figure it out, like, just get it, you like it, like, you deserve it. And I think my aunt, she borrowed money from my aunt. I just felt so guilty. So guilty because I knew we didn't have money. And I just remember the guilt that I felt just getting it, you know. I knew, and like my mom was like, no, like I'll pay for it. Like she was doing it because she didn't want me to miss out, but I knew how it was at home, that I felt really bad having her to pay for any of it. And I didn't want her, so like I had my little job that I was working at, so like I barely had enough money, you know. But I ended up going. Point is, like, the reason why I say that is just because as a DACA recipient, like when I graduated, it was really hard for me because like my dad was getting deported too at the same time. Because at the time they would move them closer and closer to the border. And I just remember getting this card from my dad and just saying how once he was out, he would come out and like help us out and all this stuff. He just wanted a better life and all this stuff. And I was just like done. I was just so done. And I remember like I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to ever hear from him again. Can you let him know that I don't want to talk to him? I don't want to hear from him. Like, I wanted to be done. I felt like it was such a toxic thing, like having him in our lives, that him getting deported honestly was the best thing that could happen to my family. And I remember, like I said earlier, like I prayed to God that he got deported, because that was the only way that I saw my mom leaving him. That was the only way that I saw us living a better life, as hard as it was, like not having enough money. Like I will always say, like I've always said, there was times, and I remember like my senior year, there was times where we barely had food. Barely. Like my mom knew, like, because I've always said, like, as long as I had beans and tortillas with cheese and salsa, like I didn't care, you know, like that's all we had at times. And literally, because my sister loved like tuna, she would just buy tuna for my sister, because that's like, she would make like tuna salad and stuff. So it was hard growing up, you know. And eventually, like I graduated, still had my little job, you know, but when I graduated, I ended up getting a job at Subway. So I was working 2 jobs actually closer to the end, because, you know, we needed the money. My mom had already told me she couldn't keep the apartment we were at, that she was going to leave it because she couldn't afford it anymore. And I feel like there was a lot of guilt in me, because I felt like I put her in debt because I begged her to let me graduate with my friends. So therefore, since I begged her and I begged and asked her to please let me, she ended up getting into some debt. So the week before I graduated, I remember she was like, I'm leaving the apartment as soon as you graduate. You can either come with me, or you can, you know, like the options, because we had already spoken about it like prior to that she was going to leave it. And I had told her that I had the idea of keeping the apartment we had. So I think by then we had already talked about it. So she gave me the notice, you know, the week of my graduation, that she was gonna move, and that if I wanted to go with her or just move forward with my plans of keeping the apartment. I went forward with that, and I kept the apartment. I had a job. I was working at Subway, and I was working at the retirement home. I ended up leaving the retirement home because Subway gave me more hours, so I was able to, you know, pay my stuff. And at the time I still didn't have DACA. But, you know, it was hard because I didn't, you know, like, I really couldn't progress, or it was hard. And then when DACA came around, it was one of those things where we were so unsure, like, how are we gonna Like, should I do it? Should I not do it? I was scared because with DACA, you have to give all of your information to the government. So like a lot of people think DACA is this horrible program that just wants to give anyone, you know, like protection and a work permit, and it's not like that. To get DACA, you have to have a clean record. You have to been here at the time. I think you had to be here before a certain amount. It's before a certain year. I can't exactly remember, but I know when I got it, I think I was 20. So I had to be here before I was 16 at the time. And then I had to have proof for every month of every year since then that I had been here and I had not left the country. In order to get it, you go through this process of getting a lawyer. Well, not everybody does because they don't have the means, but I did go through a lawyer. Because by getting a lawyer, what that did was that it's more expensive, but if something went wrong, it doesn't fall necessarily on the person, it falls on the lawyer. So there's more chances of you being able to fix something if it's incorrect on their part, versus if you mess up and you're the one that's applying, there's less forgiveness for it. I remember my sister did it first and I was super scared because I was like, I don't know, like they're gonna, because so they need to know where you live. They need to know where you're gonna be working. They need to know if you're in school. They need to know, they take your fingerprints. You go through this whole process that's so in-depth. So when people say like, oh, like it's a bad program, not really, like, or that they say that we're criminals or you're like bad things. I think the only reason why people say we're here to steal jobs is because we get a work permit. But honestly, like, yes, I'm very happy that DACA has given me that work permit because it has allowed me to get jobs that I wouldn't have been able to work at. And then like crazy story, I know this is going to be a little bit of a long video, but I actually had applied to Olive Garden, and I remember I was waiting on my DACA card and I was like hoping, because I was like just trying to make more money and I wanted to be a server. And I remember like it didn't come in time, my social security card, so unfortunately I had to use a fake social because or like, you know, to try to get the job, because that's how I had to do it at the time. And I remember it's crazy how things happen for a reason. They did the e-verify, and that's why I was super scared at the time to get like a job, because I knew like if they did that, like I wouldn't pass. And I remember the day before my social security card came, I had the interview, or like I had already gotten the job. I was doing the job training, and then they decided to do an e-verify. And I remember I went to the job and they took us one by one, and I remember like they did that and it didn't match, and I like broke down. Or like I didn't break down then, but I got really nervous and I was like, hey, like I'm really sorry. Like I told him, and he's like, well, you know, if he's like, unfortunately I can't take you on, like, you know, like he was just like, I'm sorry. Like he saw my face, he knew I didn't mean anything bad, it's just I wanted to work, you know. I remember how bad I felt, like how bad I felt going through that. So I can understand how like hard it is for like all the other people that don't have DACA and stuff. And I just remember how sad I felt, how horrible that feeling felt of being rejected. And just, I'm not a liar, I've always been a very honest person, but you know, I just wanted to I just wanted to be able to take care of myself, you know, and stuff. And I was going to school at the time, so like I was just trying to make life better for me. I remember I went home and I was so upset. I was so upset about it. But everything happens for a reason, you know? That's what I keep saying. The next day, my social security card comes in. And let me just tell you, like, things happen for a reason. They take you down different paths, and because of that, my life has changed so much, and because of DACA, because of my work permit, I've been able to excel. The moment I got my permit, I quit Subway. I started care.com. I became a nanny. I like tripled my income. Like I did really well. I was helping my uncle with his business. I was nannying for a couple different families. Like I literally tripled my income. And it was crazy because it's like I went from like struggling, like just to make ends meet, to just getting my social and my life changing. You know, and while DACA does not give me citizenship or allow me to necessarily travel without permission, because I know some people have. I haven't, especially not with this administration, but it has allowed me to live a more well-rounded life. It's given me the opportunities to follow my dreams and aspirations. It does protect me from deportation, quote unquote, but as you guys all know with the news, or don't know, like Trump's been trying to deport all of us since he got in office. Since, I mean, they have all of our fingerprints. They know where we work, they know where we live, they know everything about us, technically speaking. I can't have a bad record. I can't. So like a lot of things, like I can't do, like I've always have to be very careful of the things I do, because I can't get any sort of misdemeanor, or let alone like if I ever got a felony. Like no, like you have to be in such good standings in order to apply or be accepted to the program. So that's why I say, like, some people think like it's easy, but it's not. Like every time like I've done something that possibly could lead me to trouble, I have to always like, well, the times I've done stuff, I get really like, I have to like kind of step back and be like, that's not okay. Like, you know damn well like you're not here legal, or like you're not legal, so if you fuck up, your everything, basically everything you're built, is going to be taken away. So it's like I have to be super responsible. I've always been super responsible with everything, or at least I've tried. I've done my share of, you know, not the most responsible things, but I mean, who doesn't? But I've always been good. DACA has allowed me to live a better life. DACA has allowed me to pursue, like, for example, like my dream of becoming a makeup artist, because I love makeup back before Instagram makeup artist, not shading, but you know what I mean. Back when I was told that I wore too much makeup, that why did I wear makeup, like everybody talks shit about us and stuff. But like pursue my makeup journey and become a professional makeup artist, which I'm really grateful for. I love the company. I love what they instilled with me. I love the confidence they created for me, and just like to become well spoken. That's what DACA did for me. It allowed me to get better jobs. Like right now, where I work for the company is just an amazing company. I'm so grateful for the job I have, because not only do I have amazing benefits, but they are good to me. They care about my future. They help me out with school. They have great values. So like if I didn't have DACA, I would not be able to be here or have what I have, you know. So basically I just wanted to share my story of why DACA is so important, and you know, that this has been my journey. I'll probably get better over time and speak better of it, but if you're a DACA recipient, or even if you're still illegal, just know that things will get better. Just don't give up. Keep pushing. Like, one thing I learned about my parents from the way we grew up was that no matter what, you have to work hard. A lot of us that were brought here that know that we have some of the strongest work ethic. Don't be lazy. Don't give up. Like, push yourself every day to do something. Even if you don't have DACA, just keep doing good. Do good so that the day that it comes where they open up applications for new recipients, when they open up a path to citizenship or something, that you're in good standing. Do everything possible to be a good quote-unquote citizen. I hate using that word because I feel like it's a status that I don't have, to be honest. But that you're a good person and that you add value, because I've achieved so much in my life, and a lot of it is thanks to DACA, but honestly, it has more to do with my work ethic. Everything I have, I've worked for it. To this day, like, nothing's ever been handed to me. I've had to work really hard. I've pushed myself to get, to bring good things to myself. Like, I've changed my life to a lot. I went through a really dark phase. I dealt with really severe PTSD in the past, which I've spoken to if you follow me on social media. I've changed my life for the better because I want to be successful. I am going to be successful. And I wanted to just kind of start this journey of getting back into here and just kind of motivating others, educate others about my situation and what 700,000 other DACA recipients are dealing with, and 7 million undocumented immigrants, or 11 million, are dealing with, especially right now with everything that's going on. There's just so much negativity, and you know, I feel like by sharing my story, maybe some people can understand and have some empathy towards us. I guess not necessarily me, because honestly, like, I don't need anyone to make me feel better. I've gone to a really good place where I am doing good, and I know that I will be successful and that I'm in a good place. I have a good job. I have a good head on my shoulders. I'm educating myself. I'm starting my 4-year college or finishing my bachelor's degree. I'm doing a lot of great things. So like, I don't need it, but like, so other people can be empathetic to people that are struggling. And that's actually why I wanted to share it, because I want to make sure that you guys know that we're all in this together and we can all make a change and we can all help each other out. If you don't have DACA, like I said, just do good for yourself. Keep pushing, because there will be one day where they're going to reopen DACA, or there's going to be some road towards citizenship where we can apply. I'm a high believer in that. So just keep doing good, keep working hard, you know, do school, educate yourself. Education is so important, so important. I know that some people don't think it is, but like for me, education has allowed me to become a better person, understand myself. So I'm obviously. Sorry. It's because I'm a communications major, so I'm like, can I communicate? I'm just thinking to myself in my head. So I'm excited what this journey is going to do. I want to inspire you guys. I want to educate you guys. I want to be able to be someone that you guys can look up to. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Like, I'm going to try to do my best to kind of motivate you guys to do better. And I just kind of want to bring awareness of what it is to be a DACA recipient, and to know that, you know, we all have a story, and that even the people that are migrating right now, like, they all have a story. And I feel like my story, like, while I've dealt with a lot of things, it's nothing compared to some of the children that are stuck in the camps, which makes me really sad, because those children have dreams. Those children can help this country. Everything I have, the job I have, I'm not stealing it from no one. My work ethic, my education, how I present myself, how I speak, the way I do my job, everything, my presence, everything, that's what's gotten me that job. There are people here that are my same age, same better life, or like upbringing, better income sources like are born here that don't even have half the shit that I do. And sorry, not to be negative, I want to inspire everyone, but I'm just saying, if I can do it, you guys can do it. Don't ever limit yourself because of stuff. Like, while we all have self-doubt, we have to work on it. I think it's important to know that anything you want is possible if you work hard for it. No one's gonna ever hand you anything to your hand, and if they do, they're doing you a disfavor. I'm not, well, for a long time, I was in that bad mentality of poor me, why everything happens to me. I am so grateful I was able to work and turn my life around to be a more positive and optimistic person that I want to give back to others to motivate you guys, because I know how it feels to be in such a negative mindset. What I went through with PTSD and just like life's challenges and everything really impacted me severely. And I worked very, very hard to be to where I am now, that I just want to be able to help you guys be a better version of yourselves, share my experiences, and somehow motivate you guys to do better. Like, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I may not say some things correct, or I may lack knowledge in some stuff, but don't be afraid to correct me, because that's one of the things. I'm open to growth and I'm open to learning, and I love to hear other people's experiences. So I think that's why, well, I know that's why I'm doing this, because I believe that I can make a change, even if it's small. Like, I know that I can help others that are in my situation, to motivate them to do better than what they are doing. I know that it's hard, like giving a message out to you guys that are in my situation. I know that it's hard currently, and that at times it would seem like our lives are coming to an end just because of them always threatening us. But just know that we're gonna make it. We are strong, we are resilient, we are powerful, we are hardworking, we don't give up, we keep going. So stay strong and stay positive, and do every day something positive to make your life better and be your best self. And one last thing, because I have it written down on my wall: self-discipline is self-love. You have to love yourself first. It all starts within yourself. So start working on that inner traumas, inner sadness, inner hurt. Try to understand why it hurts and figure out how you can make it better, or reach out to people. Always ask for help. I think always, look for someone that can motivate you to do better. And that's another thing for me. Like, I haven't seen a lot of people that I can look up to that look like me. So therefore, I want to create a platform where I can inspire other people that are looking for someone to motivate them. So thank you so much for watching this. I know that it's probably going to be a long video or 2 videos, but I just want to say thank you. I love you guys, and I hope that I either helped you understand a little bit more, or that I can, did something to inspire you guys to try to push yourselves a little bit more. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to follow, I'm going to try to upload more often and talk about things that happen in life where we can all like kind of relate, or like somehow motivate one another to be a better us, and talk about real life stuff that pertain to the world and what's going on, and just like how we can be better, if that makes any sense. Sorry if this video's all over the place. With time we'll get better, or I'll get better at speaking to you guys, but this is something I'm really passionate about, and I want to help you guys, and I want to help myself grow. So I think this is so important and such a good platform for me to be in, because I do feel like I can make a change, and you just got to believe in yourself. So have a good day, take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching.